What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Pod Scum. I am your host, your bastard of ceremonies, Reckless Rexx Ruger. That, if you couldn't tell by the enormous, gargantuan teeth, is the Freddie Mercury puppet, my sidekick, always watching my back. Of course, this is where the cool kids come to chop it up with your boy, Rexx Ruger. No place else. You're looking at me and saying, Rexx Ruger, yes, but where else do I know you? Well, dispense of the mystery, because you might also know me as Diamond David Lee Roth Jr. I'll clear it all up for you. Take one look. As a matter of fact, I'm going to treat myself to a look. Yep, it's all in order, and it always is. The quaff like Roth. It's the Rockstar genetics, kids. And it's also a little help from right there, boys and girls. Get it, use it, love it. Up your game. You won't look this good because we all know that's impossible. But you could probably step it up a few levels. That being said, proof will soon be on the way. My lawyers have assured me of this, that we will prove once and for all what we all have already known, that I am Diamond David Lee Roth Jr., the son of glam, the front man for the band, adored by millions of fans, the peanut butter to your jam. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Mr. Wah, babaloo, bapa, wah, bam, bam, shazam, hot damn. Feeling good? Just verified that I'm looking good. What else is there? And my guest is here, so we're going to chop it up with him right now. I'm excited. Perfect timing. Let's get down to it. This is where I need the rights to the Jeopardy theme song. Do we got him? Do we got him? Do we got him? Vinnie. As you know, folks, no editing here. Vinnie. Check one, check one. We don't seem to have him yet. You have to enable your camera and microphone at the bottom of the screen. See that, folks? You just witnessed me. There he is. Hey, we got him. I can't hear you. You got no audio.
How about now?
Now I got you.
Okay.
Yeah, well, thank God that wasn't too hard.
It could have been. I was getting there.
I mean, despite the fact that I do a podcast, I'm really horrible with technology.
But, I'm okay at it just to do what I got to do. This is, these things outside of Skype and Zoom.
I know. Well, I'm happy to have you on here, and I appreciate you making time to do this. I know you've been really busy lately. Usually I like to start these things kind of going back to the beginning, and then we'll get into the stuff that you're currently doing right now. But for you, was there a specific album or an artist or maybe even a song that really kind of lit the fire for you to do music?
Well, I mean, when I was about 9 years old, I started fucking around with guitar. Ted Nugent, Santana, all the guys from the 70s, I grew up hearing them. And then, I got interested, and probably Ted was the first, thing that I saw that was like, whoa, man, I gotta, look at this fucking guy. I gotta.
Yeah. So would you say he's one of the guys that probably has a lot of influence on your style of playing?
Yeah. Maybe early on and maybe I got a bad attitude like him. I probably carried that forward, but yeah, when I was younger, man, I mean, Ted was the shit back in the 70s, man.
Oh yeah.
So
I kind of think he's still the shit.
What's that?
I kind of still think he's the shit.
He is, man. His people don't like his politics, but I look at it like this, man. You're a fucking guitar player. What are you, political analyst?
Right.
Whatever, man. Look, whatever your thoughts are and all of that shit, fine. But I try not to mix, people's personal lives with, how they touch.
That's a good way. Yeah.
Music,
That's a good way to be.
Of course, Billy Gibbons, man. My daddy used to be in a cover band out here in New Orleans when I was a kid.
Okay.
And he brought home the fucking Fandango album one day, and I was like, oh Jesus, So yeah, and of course, when you hear Eddie Van Halen for the first time, it
Yeah, no doubt.
Makes you want to quit, But
yeah, can be a bit discouraging.
yeah,
and so
absolutely.
and so you're mentioning ZZ Top, and I know facial hair goes a lot with metal, man. But is the beard at all inspired by ZZ Top?
No, but I'm not. I could lie and say yeah, but
Yeah.
but no. I had a business a while back with some partners, and I actually started growing this as a protest beard because I didn't like one of my partners, and I told that motherfucker, I'm gonna grow this fucking thing until you fucking leave. So I just kept.
And has he left?
Oh yeah, he did. He ended up leaving, and it's been long done, and we're all friends and shit. Business is business.
But now you've grown accustomed to the beard now, right? So it wouldn't go anywhere.
Yeah, because I gotta shave my fucking head, so I'll be damned if I'm going to have to shave my face till I'm done.
Yeah, you want you want to be able to claim some hair.
right. Yeah, just a little, I mean, what am I, 56? Yeah, I gotta cling to something, man.
Yeah, I'm 51. I feel every bit of it some days,
Right.
I mean, I'm in upstate New York, so the cold weather is starting to creep in now. So like that doesn't help, man. You start to feel the aches and pains a little more.
Yeah, and in New Orleans, man, cold weather. It was 85 fucking 2 days ago. Now it's fucking 55. That's fuck. So yeah, I'm feeling it. Get the arthritis and shit.
Yeah, I hear you. And so tell me what's been going on, man. We've been talking a little bit, like in text messages, like getting the scheduling right and getting this all set up or whatever, man. But so obviously, people know the last couple of years. Anybody that's followed, extreme metal or the rock and metal world, obviously knows, no longer in EXHORDER. But you had texted me and said you were doing some stuff and you wanted to wait till it had marinated and it had come to fruition a little bit more. But you've been working on a solo project with Kirk from Crowbar.
Well, yeah, I can't really make any official announcements.
Okay, fair enough.
But we are in and out of the studio a lot, whenever he's around in town. More so me than him, just because he's got a hell of a schedule.
Sure.
So, but yeah, we've been kind of planning on doing some things for a while. What happened was a couple of years ago, I want to say maybe 2 years ago, he called me up and we were talking. He was about to do a solo album. And his second one, and I was going to do a solo album too. I had a bunch of stuff written and stuff for the second EXHORDER album and some other things. So I said, well, I'm about to do one too, and he said, well, let's hook up, man. Let's riff around and see what we can do. And so we did, and we wanted to do the project. So we both kind of said, well, let's not do the solo projects, and let's just do a little something together in our spare time when we can do it. But he had some obligations, me, I can do pretty much anything I want, but he was obligated to deliver a solo album. So he said, well, look, why don't you come in and like co-produce this with Dwayne and, and help out with the solo album. And then when that's done, we'll continue, talking about doing what we want to do. So that's kind of what ended up happening was, I ended up, over the course of a year, working on his solo album. So I did some writing on it. I did some production stuff with it, and it's that thing's fantastic. And with there's been some tentative release dates for that, but they keep getting pushed back for some odd reason.
Right.
So matter of fact, I believe it was supposed to come out this month. So I think they're pushing it back again.
Okay.
So I'm not really sure. It's all up to him and his camp. So, but that thing's coming out soon, and it's fucking murder, man. It's his first solo album was really good. This one's a little different, it's got some sway, and it's a heavy record too, man. It really
well,
is.
I wouldn't expect anything else from Kirk. And the funny thing is, I've seen a lot of these polls recently that different people do online. And it's funny how Crowbar now is all of a sudden viewed as one of, if not the heaviest band in the world. And I've gotten to realize as I've gotten older. When I was young, you used to equate heaviness with blast beats and growling lyrics and very fast in your face. Then you start to realize that heavy takes on a different meaning, though.
Yeah, like speed. Yeah, because that was his whole bag, and he said this before, so I'm sure he won't mind me repeating it. But back in the day, EXHORDER was, in 85 and 86, 87, back when we, our early days, we were the fastest thing on wheels around here. We were kind of the only thing on wheels around here at the time. So he said to Jimmy Bauer, he was like, look, man, can you play that fucking fast? Because everybody wanted to kind of be, in the same wheelhouse as what we were doing. So, the thrash thing. So he was like, Jimmy said, no, I can't go that fast. And he was like, well, I can't go that fast either. So let's go the other way, So that's what they did, It tune low and play slow, man. And I'm gonna tell you what, man, I'm glad he did, because that really kind of ended up being the signature, sound of what everyone equates as the New Orleans sound. That's what it is, low and slow and grungy and dirty and dreadful.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought him up. I'm having Jimmy on Tuesday. I love him. He's a great guy, man. Awesome dude. Yeah, I've had him on before. So when you're putting a date on EXHORDER like that, it's been debated, throughout, who stole whose sound. Was it EXHORDER or Pantera? Was it Pantera or EXHORDER, man? But you are a guy there in the thick of the Louisiana scene. It's the chicken. Who came first, the chicken or the egg? Who was it? Whose sound was it first, Vinny? Clear it up for us once and for all.
Well, let me put it to you this way. I wrote Desecrator before Power Metal was out.
Okay, fair enough.
I think I Am the Night was the last was going on while I was writing Slaughter in the Vatican.
Yeah.
So but yeah, and look, there's a lot of controversy behind that, and of course we're all old and gray, and some of us aren't here anymore. So, but I mean, it's a long story, but we were, Phil, I've told this story before in other interviews. Phil was actually in EXHORDER for about 3 hours.
It lasted that long, did he?
Well, and look, it was my fucking fault, because what happened was I want to say in sometime in '86. We got in a big fight in the band and stuff, as usual. It's EXHORDER history, man. We're always happens. But so that was the first breakup, and Kyle and Chris and David Main, my first guitar player with me, left. So it was just me and Andy. So I grabbed Jay Saravolo, Sid Muntz on drums, and Sid called me, and we were all trying to put it back together in the rehearsal space. And Sid called me up and he said, listen, man, he wants, I talked to Phil. Phil wants to come and try out for the band. He wasn't happy with things that were going on in Texas, so he wanted to come home and come try with us. So I said, well, just tell him come home. He's got the job. So he flew in anyway and tried out and shit, did a couple songs with us. I was like, dude, you fucking killer. Of course you got the job. So we put him back on the plane, back to Dallas, and I went home, and when I walked back in the house, my phone was ringing, and it ended up being Kyle Thomas, and he's like, listen, man, I want to come back to the band. I was like, motherfucker, I haven't heard from you in a year.
Right.
And I just put fucking Philip on a plane and told him he's got the job. He's going home to fucking quit fucking Pantera. So I got to, so I said, let me call you back. So I called up Jay, I was like, Jay, dude, I'm in a pickle here.
You're in a dilemma here. Yeah.
Right. So he's like, well, look, man, what do you think the right thing is to do? And I said, well, the right thing to do is to bring Kyle back and give him his gig back, because he's the one we built this house with,
Right. Right.
And I wanted to be loyal. I wanted to do the right thing, and I loved Kyle. And so he's like, well, do what's on your heart to do. So I called Phyllis. He was disappointed, of course, but he was also happy that we were getting it back together in its original state. And then Chris ended up coming back, and we had the old gang back together.
Yeah.
But now I kick myself in the ass and I go, I believe I gave up I passed on Phil Anselmo for this
I
fucking
know. I know. I'm curious to think though, man. Because now obviously you did touch on the Abbott brothers, but rest in peace to both of them. Sorely missed. But when you first heard Pantera was getting back together, what was your feelings on it? Because obviously it was a very polarizing topic, when it was first announced. Obviously now they've been back in full swing now for a couple of years or whatever. But did you like the idea at first?
At this moment, yes, because when you're 50 plus, years of age, it's not like this is going to set the world. You're not trying to rebuild the fucking wheel.
Right,
you're not
right.
You're not going, to take on. This is for your legacy. This is to give something back to the fans that were loyal to you back then, and the ones that never got a chance to see you.
Yep.
Because we had the same thing with EXHORDER. I mean, we've been around for so fucking long. People were just so happy that we came back, and the people that have heard us for the first time, and old folks, man, they're bringing their fucking kids, and shit.
Yeah.
So I kind of equated it to the same thing. Look, I don't care if you get Benante and Zach. I mean, who else are you gonna get? I mean, those guys are top notch. So
yeah.
I thought it was cool, Now, in my opinion, if they put out new music under that banner, I would probably not be a fan of that,
Yeah.
Unless it was fucking, unless it blows away everything else you did before,
Yeah, and that would be hard to do. Yeah.
That's tough to do, man. You can't, unless you could get the fucking time machine and get your ass back to the 80s, and have that teenage angst and we're all different people now, man.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. You go ahead.
I was cool with it though. I was cool. I was like, this will be good, and it's good for metal. I mean, Pantera was, as much beef as we had back in the day over the, who came first thing and the media with all of that bullshit. They were great. They were great for metal back then. They kept everybody on the map, and it's good for metal today, man.
And now, talking about gigs, I always like to throw a couple subjective questions in here too. So since we're on the topic of gigs, obviously as a fan of music, I'm sure you've obviously played many a gig, but you've probably been to many of a gig from a fan standpoint. Is there one gig that really bowled you over, that really stands out in your mind, of a show that you attended as a fan?
Fuck, oh man, so many. If I wouldn't pick. I don't think I could pick one.
Okay.
That really smoked me, man. But I could pick an era,
Okay.
And it was definitely between 85 and 84 and 89, 90.
Okay.
Up in those areas, man. We were hardcore kids too, man. We were punks,
Yeah.
Because in New Orleans, there was no metal scene. We kind of had to create one, So we were kind of the first metal band to cross over the genres, and Kirk and them came behind us, and everybody else, in town. So that era was so memorable. I mean, Agnostic Front. I mean, all the Agnostic Front gigs that I've ever been to were fucking.
I love them.
Never forget them. It's like.
They're the epitome of hardcore music for me. I mean, I might be biased because I am an upstate New Yorker, man, but the New York hardcore scene it takes a backseat to nobody. No, amazing bands.
And that culture too. A lot of towns have their own culture that goes along with their music and their movements, man. But dude, if it wasn't for New York, I mean, where the fuck would we be?
Right.
West Coast, not to diss the West Coast, because I'm a thrasher, so a lot of thrash came out of the West.
Sure.
I know Exodus and a lot of guys out there, and I love those guys. But man, without New York and that culture, where would we be?
And when you're going to create music, because I talk to so many musicians on here, what is your specific creative process like? And I hear guys on here say that they get their ideas a lot I hear a lot of guys say in the car, they're humming something into their phone, or they got to pull over or write something down. I hear a lot of guys, you know, they get sparks of ideas at their day job. There's the creative people that can kind of sequester themselves into a room and say, I'm going to sit in here and I'm going to create. For you, what's the process like?
You know, I'm guilty of not playing my guitar unless I have an idea.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm not a practicer. I'm not a whittler. You know, I can't. I'm not the guy that just sits there whittling on the sofa and then go, oh, that sounded cool. Let's work on that.
Yeah.
It literally, you know, comes out of nowhere. It's just like a beam of light hits me, man, and I hear the riffs in my head. Then I have to go get the guitar and go, okay, let's work out all the variations and all of the shit that goes with it. I'm sorry, man. Let me.
That's all right.
I'm fucking snoozing these cameras because I keep getting this fucking. There, can you still see me?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So for me, man, I got to just pick up the guitar and go. You know, once I get that idea, and that's pretty much how it works for me. You know, and then once that idea goes and I vet it and run it through the mill, the guitar goes back in the corner until the next idea, and it could come. You know, tomorrow, it could come in the next 5 minutes. It could come in 3 fucking months. You know, I'm notoriously known for being slow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, if something's going to be good, you can't really rush it though. True. Right. I mean,
Correct. Yeah. That's, you know, for me, I always wanted to make sure that, you know, I've always considered myself to be the Ernest and Julio Gallo of riffs.
yeah.
I was serve no riff before it's time. You know, I mean, my last record, you know, I did with EXHORDER. It took fucking 27 years to finally get, you know, to get that out. So, I mean, I'm willing to wait. And to be honest, I'm kind of doing the same thing right now. Yeah, and not on purpose. You know, it's how long has it been? Maybe 4 years, 5 years I've been out of the band. I should have put something out by now. People keep telling me, but you know, I mean, I got a ton of stuff, but I'm not going to serve that to you unless I know it's fucking puro. You know what I mean?
And you feel like you will continue on working solo. Obviously, as I mentioned earlier, you know, a couple of years ago, you left EXHORDER. Do you feel like you'll ever be in a band situation again, or do you feel like you'll remain a solo artist?
That's a tough one because if it's the right people, I will. You know, obviously, if things, you know, keep continuing, you know, along with me and Kirk the way it is, he's a beautiful fucking human being.
Yeah.
And his wife and everybody he surrounds himself with, great team, you know, and great people. I've been knowing him for 40 fucking years. If it's the right folks, yeah. But other than that, man, no, absolutely not. Because I would rather just, you know, write what I write, do what I do, and just hire people to play what I need them to play.
Yeah.
If that, you know, if I'm going to take it out on the road, only because, you know, maybe it's because I don't play well, I don't, you know, jive well with others, but I got a, you know, 38, 40 years somewhere like that with EXHORDER, and you know, we've tried that band a million times, and you know, we've patched it up and broke it up and patched it up again. I'm getting too old for that shit, you know.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I know. You can only take so much, right? I mean,
yeah, and you know, the business will wear on you too, you know.
The business side, yeah, sure.
Although I can say, you know, my last management company and the label at Nuclear Blast, they were all great to me, you know, and to the band, you know. So no, you know, no gripes there. But you know, in the past, man, I mean, you know, there was a time when, you know, label bullshit, you know, back in the early days of EXHORDER could have crushed us, you know, and almost did away with the band, and kind of did, you know. It just wore us down to the fucking nub, you know. At
Now,
least
do you
me.
still now obviously touring, and I hear it from so many musicians on here, it's such an essential part of the business right now, getting out there, playing live, hoping you can peddle some merchandise and you know, try to make your make your required nut for the month or the year or whatever. Do you still like that part of the business? You know, being out on the road, it is a nomadic existence. As you get older, I don't know, sometimes it's a little harder maybe to tear yourself away from your creature comforts, you know?
Yeah, it takes me a couple of tours to get used to it, you
Yeah.
know. Again, you know, as I get older, I would say, you know, being on the road is definitely more challenging. You know,
Yeah.
so look, I'll put it this way: some people live for that shit, you know.
Sure.
Um, you know, and they can't live without it. And if they are not doing it, they don't feel comfortable in their skin.
Right.
I'm not that guy, man. I enjoy waking up in my own fucking bed
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
you know, and you know, the problem with touring for me is I can't fucking sleep. You know,
I
no
get
matter
that.
what,
Yeah.
dude, no
That's
matter
tough.
what they, yes, it's tough. Look, no matter what they put me in, they put me in a fucking beautiful, luxurious nightliner, or they could put me in a fucking van or a plane. No matter what it is, it's so hard to get rest, and it's hard to manage yourself, much less manage, you know, everything else you have to manage. So
Right. Right.
I don't love it, and I'm not the kind of guy that needs it, but I do enjoy doing it, you know,
Yeah.
and I will probably do it again when the time comes, you know.
But it is tough though, because you make a good point though. Like when you're out on the road and you're not getting that rest, and then people are expecting you to take the stage and perform, you know, at a high level. It's difficult. You do need rest.
Yeah, and you know, and you know, a lot of times you're not well, you're sick.
Yeah.
Um, you know, you're not eating right, you're not fucking, you know, you're not resting, you're not doing anything. You know, good for you.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
matter of fact, you tend to do all the shit that's bad for you.
Right.
So,
Right. Right. It kind of
uh,
goes hand in hand.
yeah, so yeah, you know, I mean, loading the trailer at 50, you know, 6 or 50, you know, was maybe the thought of doing it at 60.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know, you know, but I'll do it. Like I said, I do love it enough to keep doing it and going out and doing it again. Um, but I don't, you know, sit here going, fuck, man, I got to get back out there. I got to, because I know what I'm going to have to do. I know how much fucking boots I'm going to have to lick and how much ass I'm going to have to sniff just to
Yeah.
get into the walk onto the bus, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you know, and I like I said, I'm not a fan of the business and the shit that goes on with it, you know,
Well, the
as much.
business part is a tough dynamic right now because you know, streaming, and obviously the industry has changed so much. You know, people aren't as interested in buying the physical product no more. You know, it is tough to make ends meet. You do got to be out on the road a lot. Obviously, I think we could see streaming kind of coming on down the pike, you know, but is there a way the industry could have harnessed the power of the streaming and gotten the artists paid better? Is there an idea that you have in your mind how this could have ended up more profitable or better? Or was it always going to be a lose-lose for the artist?
I think it's always going to be, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I'm not a pessimist, but I don't believe until just like the people in the just like the United States of America, until the people get up off their ass, until the musicians get up off of their ass,
Yeah.
and take their industry back. We give too much to
Right.
the higher ups because, you know, streaming. Yeah, I mean that's a, you know, I knew they were going to fuck us in streaming. I mean, they were fucking us, you know, when they would, you know, back in the day, you know. I
Sure.
mean, we never artists don't ever get a fair shake, man. They don't get the contracts they put in front of you to fucking sign or just fuck you deals, man.
Yeah.
And you're gonna fight and you're gonna pay lawyers, and even then you're not gonna get the right deal, man. There's always some backwards fucking wording in the back of this thing
Yeah. They
that's
always
gonna
win it. They always win in
always
the end. Yeah.
always, and they can steal, and you know, they do. I'm not going to say names, but they do. And they fucking run off to you know, pretty islands and live off of your fucking hard work, you know,
Right.
and
Right.
hide, you know, at the end of their life, you know. So when the streaming thing came along, I was like, well, this is a fucking fiasco. Is there anything that they could have did better? Yeah, when the industry decides they want to stop robbing the fucking artists, you're probably not only going to see more artists, but you're going to get better music also.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
And so around COVID time, if you can think back to that time, and I believe More in the Southern Skies came out in 2019. So what was going on around COVID time when everybody was hunkered down? Was that a particularly prolific time for you creatively? Like, what were you doing during that time? I've talked to a lot of artists who say, yeah, I got a lot of writing done, got a lot accomplished. And then I hear a lot of people say, I took it as a break to kind of just recharge and do nothing music related.
Right. Yeah. No, I kept while it was going on, I kept writing, you know, because like I said, it doesn't matter what year, what month, whether I'm actively in a band or working on a project or doing anything or just, working, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. If the riff, gets zapped into my head, I'm going to write it.
I had to fuck up some plans a little bit though, because you guys had just put out a long awaited album too.
Well, there was a lot of internal crap going on between us.
Yeah.
At that exact time. What was it? October of 19, it came out.
Yep.
Shit. I mean, it didn't last. I mean, I was, we were planning, well, we were arguing around that time, around November or December of that time. And there was a tour that had to happen. I think it was we were supposed to open for Overkill. And and COVID was like just fucking hit the street. I remember looking at television and thinking to myself, going, oh, okay. And I'm thinking about, am I staying in the band? How am I going to work to, negotiate things with the guys to make all of this work? And I'm watching the fucking television, and there's people in China just standing in the street and falling over,
Yeah.
over
crazy time. Yeah.
Right. It was fucking nuts. So, it didn't sway my decision in anything, but, looking at that, I was like, so right around February of that year is when I left of 2020. And by March, it was full blown. So I didn't have to really, endure it. They did, they went out, still did the tours and everything. Yep. And, and everybody, from what I understand, everybody got fucking sick, and all the friends that I got in the business, saying the same shit. Everybody got sick and, had to live through it. And, I just kept thinking to myself, what a I've never timed anything perfectly in this business other than getting the fuck out when I did.
Yeah. So I guess if you're going to time anything right, that would be a good thing to time right, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Knowing when to get out.
Yeah, so I did, but yeah, I did keep writing. I did keep working and writing. And about 2 years into COVID is when I started to feel like, okay, it's time to start going in and recording some of this stuff. And that's when I kind of started talking to Kirk about stuff. And, so, here we are now,
Yeah. And now you've been pretty vocal in like past interviews. And I was putting like my notes together about not pulling any punches with being pretty prolific on More in the Southern Skies. You know what I mean? As far as like your contributions and your writing. And I kind of applaud that. I don't look at that as something, maybe other people might have a different opinion on it, but I don't look at that as something that's, that's arrogant or pretentious, man. I like the fact that you're saying, hey, look, I made a huge contribution to this album,
Yeah. I did an interview a couple of months back, and there were some folks that didn't take it nicely. But most of those people are fucking their friends and shit,
Yeah.
Vinny's a jackass, Vinny's a fucking tool, Vinny's this, Vinny's that.
Yep.
Well, I'll tell you one thing Vinny is too. He tells the fucking truth. I'm not a liar.
Yeah.
I wanted the help. I've always wanted the help, That's why I enjoy playing with Kirk so much is because
it's more collaborative.
It's great, man. Yeah. I've never had it. It's so fucking refreshing to be able to sit across from a guy, that, and not just bounce, a riff off of, but go, him fucking make it better, and vice versa, So, when it came to Morning, Morning had to be all me. you know, and it was no problem because I had such a long, you know, litany of material ready.
Right. Right.
It was actually hard choosing what I wanted to put on the motherfucker. And I've even said, Vibrooks, Jason Vibrooks presented a song. Didn't need to put it on the record, but I did it anyway because it was fucking. He's part of the band, and I wanted some of I wanted that element on the record. But other than that, man, you know, it was the same old story. I couldn't get any help. Now, obviously, I'm not talking about Kyle. Kyle always shows up.
Yeah.
You know, he's never light on material. He's never, he's always on his fucking game. You know, and I'm talking about the guys that I gotta write the fucking actual music with. You know, they just, give me where's my.
You like it, and so you like more of a collaborative environment. You like when the duties are shared more, because I think probably people, the reason people may have been, had felt a certain way about that topic is because maybe they don't understand the whole thing that you're doing this much work out of necessity, but you would rather have scaled back a little bit and acquiesced to other people and gotten some help.
Absolutely. I mean, not just the fact that, and not because I needed the help, like I said, tons of material. But because that's what a band is.
Right.
A band is, fucking 3, 4, 5 guys, however many guys you got. And it's all of them coming together. That's the beauty of this, you know.
I agree with you. Yeah.
And that's
you see a lot of guys in bands like take control. And it goes back years and years. I mean, we used to hear, James and Lars would just write everything and tell the other guys what to play and what to do. And maybe that works for certain bands, but it does. You make a good point. I think sometimes people get away from the concept of what a band is or what the word in itself means,
Yeah, because if you did, why would you need the other guys?
Right.
I mean, I could go in the studio right now and just program MIDI drums and play bass, play fucking guitar, do all the solos. I mean, hell, if I wanted to, I could fucking go take a couple of lessons and fucking sing. I mean, and not need anybody to do it. Well, okay, and then go hire fucking guys to play the shit on the road. That's to me, maybe once in my life I could do that with a project or a one-off, but I wouldn't want to do that, man, for my whole career, man. The idea of a band is having those minds connect and those souls connect. It's important to have that. And I kind of had that on Slaughter in the Vatican, with Andy Villafara. He contributed with me to that album. The Law, not so much. Jay threw in a couple of things here or there, but that's where that kind of, it's where that thing kind of started, where it was like, okay, if I don't fucking do this, nobody's gonna fucking do it.
Right.
So when Morn came around, it had to be me. I had to produce it. I had to, which is cool because now I'm producing a lot of other things too, So I'm
you like, and now do you like that aspect of the business because you peeled away from being in the limelight in a band? And I know you're obviously doing solo stuff, but is that an avenue that you would ever explore? Being the guy behind the soundboard, doing the producing, doing the engineering. Is that an interest of yours at all?
I love it. I'm doing it now. Like I said, I did it on Kirk's solo record. And I'm co-producing also his other band that he's doing with Johnny Kelly, Kenny Hickey from Typo, and Todd Strange from Crowbar and Dan. They got a new band. They just changed the name from IM to Sun Don't Shine.
Okay.
And I spent the last year producing that with Dwayne. They would come to New Orleans and record at OCD at the studio that Dwayne owns. Same place we did More in the Southern Skies, same place we do Kirk's records, same place Crowbar records, Down does a little work there, here and there. So I love it. I love that aspect too, because now I get to walk in with no preconceived notion and just, listen to what the guys come up with and then just give them an idea. I get to kind of just color it a little bit.
Right.
And some ideas they're for, and some ideas they're not, and that's cool too. The the way I look at producing other guys is, um, I'm only here to make you sound better than you think you do. You know,
Right.
I'm
Right.
more of a cheese grater. You know what I mean? Like if you're coming up with something that's, you know, it's probably not good enough, or it sounds a little, you know, cheesy. Yeah, let's cut the cheese. You know, let's try something else. And again, that is more of a to me, it's more of a collaborative thing. I get to work not only, you know, um, with another, you know, engineer and producer like Dwayne, but I also get to work with a band that I'm not fucking in. You know, it's I got no ideas until I hear what you got. You know,
Right.
So yeah, I love that part of it. I hope I get to do more of it. You know.
And when you are going to create and write songs, what's the impetus? Like if you're going to write lyrics, like where do you seem to gravitate towards for getting ideas? Like meaning, are you like is it books? Is it movies? Is it pulling things from the news? Is it real life? Is it a collection of all those things?
But for me, it was you know, it was early on. You know, I wrote a lot of lyrics on Slaughter in the Vatican. Um, for me, it was real life. You know, real life stuff. You know, um, which back then it was just drinking, fucking, and fighting. You know,
Right.
So that's what I wrote about. You know, but I don't do a lot of lyric writing now. You know, I to take that back. I'm doing some lyric writing now for my own projects and new things.
Okay.
And it's for me, it has to be a life experience. You know, movies, I don't watch much fucking TV because it's all shit to me.
Me neither. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I get nothing from it. I but a waste of time. And so I can't really draw for anything else other than, you know, what's happened in my own experiences in life, you know.
Right. Let me ask you a couple of the subjective questions I throw out to most of my guests on here. If you could put together your Mount Rushmore of all-time musical artists, for you, who are the four that mean the most to you?
Wow. It's got to be guitar guys, man. I mean, obviously,
Sure.
you got Edward Van Halen, of course, Billy Gibbons, Ted, and you know, there's so many other guys I could put in that fourth slot. But I'd have to put Carlos Santana only because, you know, as a kid, that sound that he made, his tone, you know,
Right.
like
Sure.
I knew at a young age, you know, like when he came on, you could tell it was him. And all of the guys that I mentioned, you know, when they just touch a guitar, you know it's them.
It's distinct. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very distinct. Yeah. So let me ask you another one here. So if I were to take Vinnie and drop him on a desert island and he can only take one album, what's the desert island album?
Fuck. Bad Brains, Eye Against Eye.
Okay. Now, I usually like to kind of like peel back the rhyme and the reason a little bit. Why is it that what you know you're going to be on this album? It's the one piece of music you can have. Well, what about that album speaks to you?
It's short.
Yeah.
It's short, and every fucking note of it means something.
Yeah.
There's not a moment of feedback, sticks clicking by mistake.
Yeah.
The fucking phone call from fucking jail on Sacred Love.
Yeah.
You know, holy shit. You know, I mean, that album's got more fucking character than anything that was ever fucking recorded, in my opinion.
It's that term where people say all killer, no filler. That's an album that epitomizes that. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's so short that, like, you know, when it's over, it's like, all right, play that shit again. You know?
Yeah.
I always got to get a double dose of that record when I put it on.
And what do you think is the one thing that you, in the last couple of years, I know that you said you're not big for practicing the guitar a lot, unless you feel a surge of creativity coming on. But like, what's one thing that you've concentrated on in the last couple of years, or maybe learned about the instrument, or taken giant steps to improving on, or is there something you want to improve on your instrument?
Well, I mean, tonally, we're always working on stuff, pickups, things of that nature. But I would say, as much as I hate it, because I hate working on the fucking things, is I use a little bit more tremolos now.
Okay.
Because when I was younger, I did use a lot of tremolo, and then I stopped. You know, just because I didn't want to get caught up in, you know, fucking being Randy Rhoads and
right,
you
right.
know, I wanted to write songs and write riffs. So now I kind of look at the instrument a little different. You know, you start looking at old Jeff Beck, you know, videos, and it's like, whoa, you know. And that's what I'm saying. When I use a tremolo now, it's not in the sense of it's not a crutch. It's not just dive bombs. It's how can I use it to create a sound that you haven't heard before.
Right. Right.
You know, or something that I haven't heard before, you know. So and as far as like new techniques and things, man, I that's another thing I just don't delve into, man. I got, you know, when I solo, man, there's a lot of, you know, I got about 5 fucking scales that I can fuck with, you know. And, you know, and on purpose, I don't learn all of the new things because I don't want to go down that fucking rabbit hole. My niche is writing riffs and songs, you know.
Right, right.
So I'm actually trying to get away from soloing is you know, more and more. So now when I solo, it's not as, you know, I've done a lot of solo work on Kirk's new solo record, and none of that stuff is, you know, it's none of that is just crazy. It's all melodic kind of, you know, more song within the song. You know,
yeah, a departure from what people think of when they think of a guitar solo.
Exactly. You know, I look at guitar soloing now like it's probably a bad example. Well, it's not. It's a great example. Neil Schon, you know, from Journey. You know, there's not many solos that you can whistle in the shower.
Right.
But you're going to remember. There's not a solo that Neil Schon played that you can't whistle in the shower.
Right.
So that's what I kind of aspire more to do. You know,
make them memorable. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. You know, and that's what I'm saying. When I use the tremolo, I want to try and do something that with it that people aren't doing. You know.
And now for people that might be interested, and during this part of the interview, I'll nod my head and pretend like I know what the fuck you're talking about, but I'm not a musician, so I don't. But for people that love the VINNIE La BELLA sound and tone, describe what you use. What's your go-to? Are you somebody that plays the same brand of guitar? Do you experiment with different guitars? Are you loyal to one brand, one amp, whatever?
Well, I have been loyal to ESP guitars for 20 years or more. So I'm comfortable with those. You know, I've always been comfortable with ESPs. Although, you know, I'm not uncomfortable playing a Gibson or anything else. But that's kind of my go-to. As far as amps are concerned, you know, over the years, you know, back in the day, I used to play a Marshall Jubilee. I still have it, you know, the original 1987, you know, bought it the year it came out. That just kind of sits in the closet. But as the years have gone on, you know, new amps emerge, and nowadays I'm playing Ingles, and I'm with Engel, and as you know, endorsed with them. And I play, but here's the thing, like the only amp that I really like from them is the Fireballs. And the Powerball is kind of like the Fireball, but not really. You know, it's for some reason, man. There's a couple of them sitting over here now. I'm looking at. They're different. You know, that amp has that honk that I go after. And as far as like pedals, man, I only use 2 pedals. You know, and I've always used only 2 pedals. It's the same shit Dime used to do when we were kids. He used the MXR graphic EQ in the front of his rig.
Yep.
And I use the Boss, you know, and I use a green 808 behind it, you know, and run it. I slam the front of the head real fucking hard, and I play it really, really fucking hard too. That's part of the you know, the tone is you know, getting the heaviest picks, you know, you can fucking possibly get, and really beating the shit, make every note fucking count, and just, you know, in technique wise execute, you know.
Now you mentioned Dime, and obviously, I think the one thing people really love the most about Dime, and you know, myself included, got the opportunity to see him in Pantera live once, which I count myself as fortunate to have had that opportunity. But even when you see him on videos or you see him in interviews or you see him and you're watching him through videos interacting with other fans, he always felt like this guy that even though you didn't, you felt like you knew him, though. You know what I mean? He seemed to give off that vibe. I mean, like he could be, the greatest guitar player in the world up on the stage, but he could also be the everyman. He could be the guy putting gas in your car, or what's your best memory of him? What's your best memory of him? Do you have a great Dime story?
We played in Dallas once, and to your story, that's what he was like. We played in Dallas once in Fort Worth, and he showed up at Joe's Garage, and I forget what year, maybe 91, 90, somewhere in there. It was Cowboys from Hell years, and to be honest, the feud was kind of just picking up. In the media, and really it was more of a media fucking thing at the time than anything, so we were still kind of cool, but he showed up and I was surprised he was there, but we were on stage and somebody came up and told me, hey man, Dime's out in the audience. I was like, well, kill him. Well, we get off stage, man, he's behind the fucking bar, serving drinks. So just to kind of, lend itself to what you were saying, he was that everyday guy. He could have pumped my gas, or he could have served my drink. You know, he fucking bartended that night, and he wasn't on the payroll. I get that. He's almost overly accessible to people. He made himself available to people. Even when he was rich and thick,
didn't change him.
Didn't change him. As a matter of fact, a good friend of ours, guy I grew up with, and a good friend of Pantera's and Phil and Dime and everybody was a local tattoo artist here, Ty Bouvier. He just passed away. We buried him Tuesday. And he went on tour. He was working for me at one of my tattoo shops, and we were partnered. Actually, it was more of a partnership at the time. And he came to me. He says, "Man, look, I want to go. I got an offer to go on the road with Pantera." This was during the Far Beyond Driven days. So I want to go. They want me to go on the road and tattoo. All the guys on the crew and them and fans, whoever the fuck wanted to get a tattoo. And he told me, man, he went out on some of those excursions with Dime, man, where he just Dime would do shit like, go buy fucking 15 10 speeds, give them to the crew, and then go ride to a fucking a tanning parlor and walk in there and buy the whole fucking line of products off of the shelf. And just bring it, buy a video camera and throw it off the fucking 10th floor and just to see what it would do. It's a crazy motherfucker, man. And he was like that, man. He was just every day, it was a new. He would call me from the road and give me a new Dime story, casino stuff, man, and him just blowing. And he told me straight up, Ty asked him, he said, dude, you spend more money than on a daily basis than looks like you make. Like, what are you gonna do? He's like, and he told me, Dime said, look, I came into this motherfucker with nothing. My plan is to leave this motherfucker with nothing.
You can't take it with you.
Dime did, as far as I knew, Dime didn't give a fuck about the money,
I get that. Now, I hate to dredge up such a bad memory, but do you remember where and how you heard about his unfortunate passing?
Yeah, man. I was in front of my screens doing my work. I'm a trader. I have been doing that for 25 years, and I was knee deep in my shit, and I had the TV on, my news and shit on the side, and it came across the wire, man. That he went. I was like, that's not fucking real. This was in I forget what year he went, but it was early on. It was like 2004 maybe or something.
I want to say 4.
Something like that. And I had, we all double take, it's like, motherfucker, and at the time, man, we, there was still beef, and nobody, but I was out of EXHORDER. EXHORDER wasn't active at the time. I really had no dog in the fight, anymore. I was like, wow, you know, and that kind of puts it into perspective. All of the beefing and the shit and the crap, because we were all fucking tight at one time, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, I grew up here in New Orleans with Philip, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
we're all super fucking tight. We all went to the same bars, partied at the same houses, man.
Yep.
Fucked the same women. Did you know?
Yep.
We did it all, you know. And you know, when that came across the wire, it was, yeah, it touched me a little bit. I was like, fuck, man, this is, you know, you can't do it. You can't hold them grudges, you know.
Yeah, life's too short. Yeah,
it's too short, because probably some things, you know, that you know, you would, yeah, I'd probably like to patch up, you know.
yeah, absolutely.
At this point in time, you know.
Yeah. So, so where's the best place if fans, EXHORDER fans or fans of your guitar playing, what's the best way for them to find out and keep tapped in to what you're doing?
Well, at the moment, it's a hard thing to do because I'm not on Facebook, and when I am, it's only to fucking, you know, go talk to somebody like you know,
Yeah, right.
Or you know, it's something for business, or
right.
You know, something that I can't do on my regular, you know, line. So right now, I'm just still kind of in limbo. You know, if you want to, you know, ever understand, you know, VINNIE La BELLA and what he does, man, just go listen to them last 3 records, man.
Yeah, yeah,
you know?
yeah.
That's you know, those are my pride and joy, and that's but in the future, there you know, in the near future, there will be, you know, websites, and I'll be back on social media, very active, and people will get a lot more than probably they want.
You'll have to catch them up to speed.
Right. Right. So, but I'm looking forward to it, man. I've been sitting around on the sidelines for a while,
Sure.
man. The studio is great, man, but I'm itching to give y'all some of this stuff, man, because if you dug more in the Southern Skies, man, like, look, my thing is I never want to do the same record twice, and I'm never going. So, you know, you're not going to get More in the Southern Skies Part 2 or Slaughter in the Vatican 2, but you always, or the Law, but you are going to get, you know, sprinkles of all of those things in a new form and a new sound, you know.
And when you do put out music, what's the release format that you like? Like, because that trend seemed to change around COVID time, where we started seeing a lot of singles, we started to see a lot of EPs. Do you still like the LP, or is that still the best way to go?
Well, you know, the old school me says, yeah, you know. And like I said, you know, I got, you know, the business is a pain in my ass, but the business likes singles and you know, lighter stuff. Unless you know, I think, you know, when you sign to a bigger label, they generally want a full album, you know.
Right.
And personally, that's how I grew up. You know, you get that album, man, and you fucking, you know, you tear the cellophane off that bitch. You read every word, you look at every picture, you know, while it's playing, and you know, it's a time capsule, you know.
Yeah.
Singles, man, like, okay, business, you know, good business says, hey, release a single every fucking 6 weeks or so, and keep the fans fresh, and keep them fresh in your mind, and have them wanting more, and wait. So let's release 10 singles over the course of a fucking year or year and a half. Okay, well, that's a tactic, you know.
Right.
If I had my choice, I'd rather give you a full record, you know. But and if a single, you know, if you do a single, I would rather do like 1, maybe 2, and then drop the full record on you, you know.
Right. Yeah.
EP, yeah, I don't mind an EP either, because I used to love getting the old Celtic Frost, you know, EPs.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it also seems unfortunate that the attention span of the general public seems to have dwindled to the point where the LP almost seems like a long forgotten idea. It seems like people just want to hear, like, you know, a couple of tracks, and that's all they can absorb. You know, it's sad.
It is. I don't know if it's the fluoride in the water, or is it the goddamn cell phones, and the flipping and the clicking, or something happened to the last couple of generations since I was a kid, and they don't want that shit no more. Yeah, and it's true. I mean, a lot of numbers don't lie. I mean, you could easily be forgotten if you just release 10 songs at one time and go, here you go, this is how it goes, you know. You could be forgotten in a month, you know?
Yeah, you could. Well, listen, man, I know you're busy, man, and I appreciate you being so generous with your time, man. This has been a lot of fun. We are in contact now on social media, so when things start percolating, you got anything to talk about, man, I'd love to have you back on. This was a lot of fun, man. I was looking forward to this, man. I knew it was going to be a good chat with you.
Yeah, me too. And I'm sorry it took so long, man.
No
but
worries.
I was trying to time some things out, and make it happen. But I would love to come back, man. This is one of the best interviews I've ever done, man.
I appreciate you saying that, Vinny. Thank you so much, man. I look forward to anything that you do, man. So I always got my eye on anything that you're involved in, man. I always have loved what you've done, man. I'm a huge fan. And as I said, keep in touch. We'll do this again, my friend.
Thank you, baby. Keep them up, yeah?
Yeah. Appreciate you, Vinny. Thank you, brother.
All right. Thank you,
boss. My man. There he goes, folks. The legendary staple of the NOLA scene, man. VINNIE La BELLA. You know him from his years of shredding mastery in a little band called EXHORDER. We settled the myth right there. I do believe Vinny did say EXHORDER. Their sound came before Pantera's. Let's just squash it and call it what it is. The boys in Pantera have done fucking smashingly well. So, let's at least give the boys in EXHORDER their fucking comeuppance, man. They were around first. It was really their sound first. I do believe that too, man. But hey, as Vinny said, everybody's in their 50s now. Everybody's content with where they are in life. So I'm not going to contribute to the beef at all. Vinny said what he said. It's documented for posterity's sake. There you have it, folks. But make no mistake, the man is a fucking legend, man. Slaughter in the Vatican, all the way up to fucking More in the Southern Skies, man. Everything that EXHORDER did in between, man. A fucking amazing guitar player, man, and a fucking great guy to fucking chat with, man. One of the more fun interviews I've done, man, and I knew that it would be, man. Vinny is just aces, man. Fucking great fucking dude, man. Look forward to anything he's going to be putting out, man, whether it's this project he's doing with Kirk from Crowbar. Anything that Vinny's got his hand in is going to fucking kick ass and melt fucking faces. That you can be assured of, man. So as Vinny said, go back and listen to those last couple EXHORDER albums. That's what we have right now from VINNIE La BELLA. But never say never. It sounds like we will get new music from Vinny somewhere along the line, whether it's solo, whether it's collaborative with Kirk. Not sure about another band situation, but again, never say never, as Vinny said. So we've got the music. We've got the music that's already there, and Vinny will still continue to kick our ass as we move forward. Of that, I have no doubt. So big thanks to VINNIE La BELLA. Really appreciate him coming on the podcast, man. Always make sure to like and follow Pod Scum on Facebook. That's where you're going to get the 411 on when new episodes are coming out. And speaking of that, let me give myself a look here at the end of a nice, hearty interview. Make sure that the quaff of Roth is still holding up. Of course, the Rockstar jeans. Come on, man, folks. If you can't tell that this is Diamond Dave Lee Roth Jr., you need to get your eyes fucking checked. But I'm not going to brag about my Rockstar good looks anymore because I could go on and on all night. So I will end this by saying, again, follow and like us on Facebook. And make sure to also like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell on this channel to stay tapped in. This is, of course, where the cool kids come to chop it up with your boy, Rexx Ruger, and my silent partner back there, the Freddie Mercury puppet. We're always here. We're always doing our fucking thing. And we're always going to remind you to take it easy and keep it sleazy.